This is one of the craziest things ever happened in motorsports history. It happened on January 29th, 2023 at the 24 Hours of Daytona, but it started 1 week before. Now, I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things in motorsports is watching races finish with a photo finish. It doesn't happen really often, it's quite rare, but it happens. In Formula 1, there were some very famous episodes. In the motorcycles, it happens more often, and even in my races it happened a few times. Now, it usually happens in short races, 30, 50, 60 laps, because the strategies are all the same, the driver level is almost the same, so it's quite easy to get a photo finish. Well, in the endurance races, however, it's not easy. After 3, 8, 12 hours or even 24 hours, considering all the different strategies and accidents that can happen to all the teams, it's more usual to see cars finishing the race with many laps of advantage. For example, in the 24 hours of Le Mans, if you have more than one lap on the second, usually it happened many times that the driver in P1 slows down and crosses the line in a parade with all the other cars. Therefore, watching a photo finish in a 24 hours race, it's almost impossible. Well, I said almost, because a few days ago, that's what happened in Daytona.
Well, here we are at the birth of a new era, maybe the most significant era in the history of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
This year's race was the edition number 61, and it was a very important race because it's valuable both for the IMSA and the Michelin Endurance Cup. So it's valid for 2 championships. That's why we saw 60 cars on the grid, split in 5 different classes: GTP, LMP2, LMP3, GTD Pro and GTD. Look at this car, the Oreca 07 number 55 of the Team Proton competition, racing in LMP2. This car will be the main character of our incredible adventure. The driver crew consists in 4 drivers: Jimmy Bruni, Italian, Formula 1, 2 times Endurance GT World Champion. Then we have Fred Bourdad, James Allen, and Francesco Pizzi, another Italian driver. And I want to start right from Francesco Pizzi, who is a very young, very talented driver who won the Arabian Formula 4 Championship when he was just 16 years old, and now at 18, he's going to make his first endurance race in his life. Well, when you have an inexperienced young guy, it's quite possible that he makes mistakes. It's normal, it's good to make mistakes, because that's how you learn. We are on Thursday, Francesco goes on track for the first practice session, and he crashes, destroying the car. The car is wrecked, and there is a concrete risk that the team will not be able to fix it in time for the race, even if we're just on Thursday. That's because, keep in mind that those cars are not Euro NASCARs where you just take cable ties, you fix everything in your race. No, they are a mess of aerodynamics, cables, sensors. You will understand what I mean in a few days because I'm going to post a documentary about Dallara, which is the biggest racing car manufacturer in the world, and you will see how a GTP car is made. That will blow your mind. At this point, the rush to fix the car starts. The mechanics sleep 3 hours a night and work non-stop to fix the car. It's Saturday. The race is scheduled to start at 1:40 p.m. And 2 hours before the race, this is the situation. It's a picture that Jimmy Bruni sent me. The car is still in pieces. Wait a second, but the qualifying? Well, they already did the qualifying, because there in the US things work a bit differently. Listen to this. The weekend before the race, they do the Roar Before 24. Basically, I'm talking about 5 test sessions on Daytona, where the team is able to test the car. And in the end, on Sunday, they do the qualifying, which takes place the following weekend. Good thing they already did the qualifying. It went good, right? I mean, they're rushing to fix the car, at least they will start in good position, right?
2 cars involved. The number 55 is out there as well, the Proton competition blue car.
The thing is that the qualifying for regulation had to be done by the bronze driver, which is the slowest of the 4. And you know what? He crashed. So he went back to the box. The mechanics worked on the car, but by working on the car, they got the lap time cancelled. So our car number 55 will start 19th in the overall grid and last of the LMP2. 2 hours before the race, the car is still in pieces, but the miracle happens. The mechanics fix the car just in time for the race, and now they're ready to race.
Let's go, the new era of GTP racing!
Luckily, the worst is over, right? Of course not, because there is another big problem. The setup! They didn't drive, they didn't race, they have no idea about the setup. But it's not over yet because there's another very bad news. Because of the Thursday accident, they were not able to do the night sessions. And the problem is that Francesco Pizzi, being a rookie, in order to be able to race at night, he should have completed at least 3 laps in the night. Not having done them, he got banned from racing in the night. Not only, he got banned from the whole event. That means that in the night of the race, Francesco is forced to leave the track and come back in the morning. But whatever, the night is going to be only 6 hours, right? Like Le Mans. No, because we're in January and the night lasts 13 hours. And guess what? Francesco Pizzi was the driver designed to do most of the night hours. It's a disaster. They have to reschedule all the stints. Bruni and Allen cannot drive many hours in the night because they're already starting and finishing the race. So, you know what? They asked the 4th driver, which is Poor Dad. And Poor Dad accepted to race some of the night hours. Yeah, but, well, I just forgot a small detail, which is Poor Dad is 58 years old. Yeah. Mr. Fred Poor Dad, thank you. Because I'm 32, I just started racing, and thanks to you I know that I have 25 more years that I can race. Thank you. By the way, what Poor Dad did is not easy, because driving at night is so hard, especially for the visibility, which is lower, and it doesn't improve the older you get, for the track conditions, for the temperatures, and for the overtakes. They are racing in an LMP2, they have to lap many drivers. Anyway, the car reassembled, the strategy completely messed up, the setup we don't know. They didn't even have time to practice the driver change. They are in total darkness. Thus, they start a race in which nobody hopes. But already in the first hours, some optimism starts to grow. Because you know what? The Proton competition team is already in the first 4 positions. Can you imagine that? Starting last, after all this nightmare, they have a concrete chance to finish close to the podium. There is, however, one big nightmare, which is the reliability. You know, those cars are so complex that they are built inside a workshop, taking the right time, checking everything. Well, in this case, they had to rebuild it in a rush. It's almost sure that they forgot something. This car can break in any moment. And you know what? They get to the final hour with the car still running. And then in the final stages, something incredible happens. A safety car. The biggest gift they could ever desire. A safety car which encompassed the whole group, and the Proton competition car driven by James Allen incredibly finds themselves in P2. Not only the car worked, he worked pretty well. 20 minutes to go. Allen in P2, Ben Haley in P1. And it will not be an easy overtake, because Ben Haley has also run an Indianapolis 500. And the last corner of Daytona 24 hours is one of the parabolic corners of Daytona Speedway. That means that Haley knows how to defend the position on that corner. Safety car out, green light, the final 20 minutes of the race. An insane fight after 24 hours of race until they get to the final lap. A lap worth 24 hours of suffering. Imagine this, the Proton competition car is still second, and Haley in the lead. For the team of Bruni, Poor Dad, Allen and Pizzi, even finishing second after all this nightmare is an incredible success. So it comes down to the last corner, until Allen flanks his opponent and tries to attack.
There's nothing in it! Whoa!
After 24 hours of race, coming from a desperate situation, why risking an attack? Well, Allen doesn't want a second place. He wants the victory. They're perfectly paired until they get to the finish line, and James Allen wins the race.
To the line! Whoa! Allen gets it! Allen gets the line!
That's incredible, nobody can believe it. After a Thursday with the car wrecked, after a horrible qualifying, after starting last, after having to redo all the stints, the Proton competition car won the race at the photo finish with 16 thousandths of a second on the other car. I have never seen anything like that in a 24 hours race. That's an incredible victory in which Pizzi contributed not only in the bad for the crash of the Thursday, but also in the good, because he did an incredible race after all. The young driver was solid and fast, and that was also thanks to Jimmy Bruni, the most experienced one, who was able to calm him down for the race. Bruni himself, after the race, said in an interview, "Pizzi is a good boy, whom I know well. When it emerged that he would not be able to race in the night time, I told him, go back to the hotel, rest, and come back tomorrow, loaded." And that's what he did. Just so you understand how sometimes a microscopic detail can make the difference in motorsport, do you know why Handley lost the race in the finish line? At the end of the race, Handley himself explained that while they were on the parabolica, he hit the rev limiter just for a fraction of a second. And that was enough to lose the position on Allen. A tiny mistake of a fraction of a second made the difference between winning or losing a 24 hours race.